The Experts with Kristen Levine. On today's show, Dr. Courtney Campbell, Amber Aquart, Dr. Stephanie Malquist.
Hey there, pet lovers. I'm Kristen Levine, and welcome to The Experts. Now, this is a show where we bring together brilliant minds in pet care to answer the questions that are keeping you up at night. So you can kind of think of this as your VIP access to the most respected, top of their game pet professionals in the world of pet care today. And if you have a burning question about your furry family member, you can send us your question in video format to dogtv.com/experts, and you just might see yourself on a future episode. Now, today's show is extra special because we're coming to you from the Global Pet Expo in Orlando, Florida. Now, this is one of the largest pet shows in the world, and I'm thrilled to connect you with these three awesome experts who are here with us today. And we're going to start off with Dr. Courtney Campbell is a board-certified veterinary surgeon. He's also an author and a TV medical correspondent. He's dedicated to presenting complex information in an inspiring, educational, and entertaining way. No pressure.
No pressure.
He's a prominent figure in the veterinary media. Please welcome Dr. Courtney Campbell.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I feel the energy from Global Pet Expo, so I'm just gonna take all the energy from you guys and all these international people here, and it's gonna be outstanding. So thank you for having me.
And we appreciate you taking a little time away from your practice.
Are you kidding me? I've been looking forward to this all week long. So
okay,
yes.
Cool. Our second guest is Amber Aquart. She is a certified professional dog trainer, celebrity animal trainer, and pet behavior expert. With over 13 years of experience, Amber has made it her mission to provide reliable, easy to understand content for pet owners. And she's appeared on platforms like Animal Planet, Good Morning America, and People Magazine. Her engaging social media presence has garnered over 1.2 million followers. So she's also the co-star of The Dog Moms right here on Dog TV, and I'm delighted to welcome Amber Aquart.
Oh my goodness, thank you for having me.
After that intro, we don't have time for the show.
I know, wow, sorry, I've done too many things, honestly.
And tell us about your guest.
Okay, so she's actually the celebrity here, Whiskey Toller, all over social media. She has helped me reach millions of people across social media, and I'm just happy to help pet owners with their pets everywhere across the world.
And completing our expert panel today is Dr. Stephanie Malquist. She's an experienced small animal veterinarian and entrepreneur. She's the founder and CEO of Vet Evaluated and Vet Endorsed. She focuses on enhancing pet health through education and product evaluation. Dr. Malquist, thank you so much for being here, and tell us where your practice is.
Thank you for having me. First of all, I practice in Houston, Texas, where I'm the medical director of a small animal hospital.
All right, here we go. So our first question today comes from Asaf from New Jersey, and we're just going to roll it right on the screen behind you.
Let's take a look.
Check it out.
Hi experts, my question is about getting my dog to the vet. I know how important it is to get help for my dog when he needs it, but every time we try to go to the vet, it's a nightmare. What can I do to make it easier to get my dog to the vet?
I feel like this is a great question for all of you. I'm going to start with Amber just because I know we were talking about this earlier, same problem before we even heard the question.
I mean, we have two amazing vets right here, and so I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. I had a dog just like this where going to the vet was one of the most stressful experiences. It made me not want to go to the vet because he was that scared. But I worked with a really great fear-free vet clinic that prioritize the dog's feelings and how they felt at the veterinary clinic. And one of the cool things that they did were called happy visits, where we could go to the vet and nothing scary was happening. And all we would do is just go and get treats. Now, the other things they would do sometimes was even come out to my car to do some basic checkups on him, so he didn't have to go into the facility. And it's really important to find, vets that you feel comfortable with and a clinic that's willing to help you with your fearful animal. And sometimes they can prescribe medication, things like that can help them feel comfortable too. But, it's not always training in those scenarios. Sometimes dogs are riddled with anxiety. And so making sure to let the vet know ahead of time so that they can help you set that pet up for success and keep it happy for everybody involved.
And Dr. Steph, I want to go to you on this because I'm sure you see a lot of this in your practice.
Oh, yes.
Pets that are nervous to be there.
Yes, it's a super common problem. And I agree, making sure that we set the pet up for success by making sure that we bring in, we call them socialization visits at our practice. So we bring them in, maybe it's just a hop on the scale with a treat, something that makes the vet visit not so scary. But I also urge my clients to remember that trip to the vet doesn't start at the vet, it starts at home. So how does that look? Does the pet love to get in the car? Does he not love to get in the car? So maybe it starts there. Maybe it's the car ride that gets the anxiety up so high that once they've walked through the threshold at the clinic, it's too much for them to handle. So make sure that we set them up for success by getting them used to being in cars and all the things that lead up to that presentation at the hospital.
Yeah. Dr. Courtney, I want to get your take on this because the pets that come to see you are about to have surgery.
Yes, they're about to have surgery, which can be an anxiety-ridden experience, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? And I agree with both of you. Less fear and more cheer, right? That's what we're about here. Because at the end of the day, I don't think there's any other profession out there where when you get a call from a client and they say, I have to cancel my appointment because my pet won't come out from under the bed.
Yeah.
There's no other medical profession like that, right?
Right,
What I mean?
right.
So I get it, but I completely agree that it has to start prior to getting to the veterinary hospital, because if you implement a lot of these fear-free practices, then you understand that when you get to the vet, we want to lower that anxiety level.
Yeah.
First question you have to ask yourself is the only time your pet is getting in the car,
Yeah.
if you're on your way to the vet,
Yeah.
your pet knows exactly what's happening, right?
Right.
So if the only time I got in the car was I was going to the doctor, I would hide under the bench.
I wouldn't go in the
So
car.
I would say, and then finally, if you're at the vet, we want to make sure it's a positive experience. Sometimes they'll say, my pet gets 34 treats. They go, my goodness, that sounds like a lot of treats. It's literally one treat broken into 34 pieces,
Yeah.
right? So throughout the entire visit, you're getting
Right.
that positive reinforcement.
Without too many calories.
Without too many calories, exactly. Just one treat in many different
Yeah,
pieces.
those are all great answers. And Amber, I just want to come back to you a little bit so we can get to know you a little bit better. Speaking of treats,
Yes.
you are an animal behavior trainer,
Yes.
right? Can you tell us, give us an overview of the work that you do?
Yeah, so I used to actually work with a lot of reactive dogs, fearful dogs, even aggressive dogs. And I think the biggest thing to remember is that there are no bad dogs. And when your dog is giving you a hard time, they're not trying to give you a hard time, they're having a hard time.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that because as a trainer, we do see a lot of times dogs at their worst.
Yeah.
And as a vet, you probably see it sometimes too. And it's really, our dogs need a lot of patience and a lot of, assistance and support throughout training.
Sure.
Using treats is really, really helpful. And I think it's a lot of times finding the things that motivate the animal and ways to make every experience a positive one.
Excellent. So that brings us to our second question. Let's see. This one's from Robin. I'm not sure where Robin's from, but let's take a look.
Okay, Robin Tanolia. And what alternative is there to flea and tick besides giving my dog chemicals?
Ooh,
Okay.
that's a big one.
I'm gonna come to Dr. Steph first on this. How do you put her mind at ease about veterinary prescription flea and tick?
This is difficult because, I do get asked this quite a bit, and everyone wants the safest, most natural product for their pet, and it's hard to know these days what to do. There are a lot of alternatives that people try, a lot of essential oils and other more natural remedies, and although I think that we do see mild success with some of these, I don't think that any of them are, to my knowledge and from my understanding, nearly as efficacious as some of the pharmaceuticals that are available. And so high season for fleas and ticks, really need to lean into something that is going to be effective. Those types of ectoparasites can carry a lot of dangerous diseases and can become quite the nuisance for the people and the pets in the home. So unfortunately, not a lot of great natural options, but I think, we're still investigating, right?
Sure.
Science will tell.
I don't know. I trust my vet. Whatever my vet recommends, my pet needs, that's what they're going to get. Why are some of us, though, so concerned about it doesn't even have to be flea and tick. It can be any medication.
Yeah, I think I value those concerns and I take them very seriously. And my heart goes out to every pet parent out there who is concerned with placing chemicals on their pet. But I want to be clear, these parasites have been around long before we have been here, and their goal is to be here long after, right? So if So lavender works, cedar oil, diatomaceous earth, all of these alternatives have sort of been broached as alternatives. And just in my clinical experience, I have seen them fail time after time after time.
Yep.
So what I will say is absolutely consult with your veterinary medical team and say, what's the best alternative? Because it doesn't have to be a zero sum, all or nothing.
Yep.
If you can use a bona fide parasite control program, right? Because some of these diseases they have are bad, right? Who wants their pet to have tapeworm? So I think at the end of the day, if you can find a bona fide product that you know works, and then also ancillarily use some of these natural alternatives, I think that it's a marriage made in heaven. But to rely on the natural alternatives, I think you're not only going to disappoint yourself, you're going to disappoint your pet as well.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Amber, anything to add to that?
I unfortunately am victim to trying the natural only route, and one of my dogs got Lyme disease and the other one got anaplasma.
Oh my
And I tried it because I had a herding mixed breed, and some of those breeds don't always respond well to some of those medicines, and so I was a little bit anxious about trying that. But I lived in Boston, Massachusetts at the time, and we went hiking 2 times a day, every single day. And I found that the time of year was kind of the biggest thing. So with my dogs, I do have them on medication now for heartworm and fleas and ticks. And that has been consistently the only thing that has, like, the tick gets on them. And if I find the tick, it's already dead by the time I find it.
Right.
And so I do think it's really great to, like, mesh them together. So something that I've done successfully is, like, during the winter months, we don't really see ticks as a problem. And so I use maybe a little bit less of the tick and flea medications during those months. And then as soon as the temperature rises a little bit, I'm like, all right, now's the time to bring out the really good stuff. And partnering with my vet and talking about what works best for my pets has been the most important thing. And I think honestly, when it comes down to it, since I've had her, she's been on the medication since she was a puppy because it's the only thing that's worked, and she is the only one of my dogs that has never gotten any tick-related diseases. So
I think we need to tell Robin to talk to your vet and to make you feel a little bit more comfortable and find the right approach that works for you. I just want to real quick go back to Dr. Steph and ask you about what is vet evaluated and vet endorsed for our pet parents watching.
Okay, so Vet Endorsed is it's a consulting company where it's a team of veterinarians. We take and manufacturers, all kinds of businesses with small and large businesses, and we help them in either product development, marketing, anything that they would maybe need a veterinarian's expertise as far as safety and efficacy of their products. So that's our consulting company. And then Vet Evaluated is a newer certification program that helps to certify. Currently, we're certifying consumable products for dogs and cats for safety and efficacy.
Okay, that brings us to question number 3. This is from Rachel. So take it away, Rachel, with your question.
I'm planning to adopt a dog, but I already have a cat at home. What's the best way to introduce them and ensure they get along?
I'm so excited.
I'm really
Dog
good
and cat
first.
training is my favorite. Cats are totally trainable, by the way. I love cats.
For
I
a
love
lot
dogs.
of people, that's like breaking news. That's breaking news.
My cats high five, they sit. Anyways, you can definitely train your cat, but I think the most important thing is to prioritize the comfort of the animal that you are already committed to. I think a lot of times, especially in the cat and dog scenario, we get a new puppy and we bring it home to the cat and we want them to just like be best friends right away. And cats oftentimes take a lot longer to get used to things than dogs. And so there's a couple of tips I can give to every single cat and dog parent. The first thing is to always keep them separate at a safe distance, utilizing things like gates, leashes, crates, all the above, but also making sure that the cat has safe places to be away from the dog is really important. So in my house, I have cat shelves all over my house. We've got cat trees. My cats are allowed up on the counters, and the reason why is because I want to make sure they have ways to get away from the dog if necessary. And then, of course, reinforcing and teaching both animals to be comfortable around each other. Treats come in really handy. Using the little like licky treats for cats. I think they're called like churu. Those are great, and they're really helpful if you keep the dog on a leash at a distance, giving the treats to the cat so the cat sees the dog and sees, oh, treats come out when the dog's around. And taking your time is just the most important thing. Being patient, making sure everybody is comfortable, and always go at the pace of the animal that's taking the longest.
Yes. Yeah. Good advice. Dr. Courtney, anything to add to that?
There's hard to add. There are so many pearls of wisdom in there. I just love it so much. what I think is also fascinating and something that we should appreciate is just that their senses of magnified and heightened more than humans, right? So in this example, I would certainly utilize or leverage a dog's powerful sense of smell, right, in those scenarios. And so if you can bring in a sense of smell from the cat, or if you have a cat at home and you can bring in something from that puppy that you're about to adopt, just so that they can get used to that through a doorway or through a partition or a barrier, so that they can get used to that. Or you can even incorporate sounds as well. So now they can hear, okay, this is what a cat might sound like if he was in this environment, right? So utilizing their senses, which are a lot better than ours, I think would be a wonderful alternative to get them used to.
Yes,
Excellent.
perfect.
Excellent.
Dr. Steph, can you add anything else?
It's tough to follow. I have to echo both of their points of view, and I really love, using their senses to get them acclimated slowly to one another. And then I couldn't agree more with providing a safe spot to retreat. And, for potty time or for eating the necessities, they need time to privately eat, to privately use the restrooms, especially for the kitties. And so, excellent answers. Hard to follow that.
I know.
I did want to add one thing I forgot to mention, which, like, again, with the senses, there's a really cool product, which I'm sure you guys use maybe in your vet clinic too for cats, which is called like Fellaway, or Feelaway, whichever you call it. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but that's a really great way. It's a pheromone to help cats feel comfortable and calm down, and it's a really great additive to put in the house maybe before you bring the puppy into the house.
Great idea.
To kind of get the cat in a better mood, and that's going to help a lot too.
Not only that, how cool is Feelaway, right, is that we just had that question about difficulty coming to the vet. You can incorporate Feelaway, and then of course, the other alternative is DAP, or dog appeasing pheromones, right? So utilizing Feelaway or dog appeasing pheromones, I think that's a great suggestion.
Way to bring that around to the other question too. That's right.
Let's call it callback.
Actually, Dr. Courtney, I want to talk to you a little bit about the practice you just opened. It's called Stitches.
Yes, right? Stitches Veterinary Surgery, first surgical practice in Long Beach, and it's been a tremendously gratifying experience, because what I realized, particularly for those 500,000 people in the surrounding areas, is that they had no access to specialty veterinary care in that area. And so you've got a city like, LBC, Long Beach, right? Snoop Dogg. I mean, you've got so many great musicians and culture in that city.
Is Snoop one of your clients?
Not yet. But if he's watching, I definitely wanted to come by. Come on. But my point is, it's just a tremendous city with a tremendous history and a legacy. And if I could add to that community in any way, I'd love to do it. And it's we're only about 2 months in, but boy, it's been an outstanding journey.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Fantastic. I love the name too. Okay, so that brings us to question number 4. Let's hear our question from Amy.
Hi, experts. I have a question. I just lost my pupper dog last week, and I want to know if you feel cremation or aquamation is better.
This is a tough subject.
Sorry, before we answer it, what's
Cremation or aquamation?
aquamation?
She actually mentioned aquamations. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to go to you first on this one, Dr. Courtney. A difficult topic for pet parents when they lose a pet.
Sure.
What do you have to say?
Well, first, it's a tremendous time, right? It's a tremendously emotional time to say goodbye to a pet. And during that time, it's tough to know what to do, right? Your mind is scrambled. It's in so many different directions. And I don't want to necessarily take up too much time, but I do want to discuss that, when you're thinking about the disposition of remains and saying goodbye, I do think that having a product like aquamations, where you sort of combine love, science, and sustainability in one, can be helpful. The way it works is just through something called alkaline hydrolysis, which is very fancy for just saying it degrades using a base, right? It uses a base, it uses science, and degrades that remains into water, right? And so it's a very sustainable product. It doesn't produce emissions. When you're thinking about cremation and fire and smoke, it takes all of that away, and then it provides you with something that's memorable and that's touching, and particularly as we move into an eco-friendly environment, and that's where we're trending. So I would just say the key words here are love, science, sustainability.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. Dr. Steph, aquamation. This is a new term for, I think, a lot of pet parents.
It is, an excellent job defining that, by the way. I could not have done better. That is excellent. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer when it comes to end of life decisions and the care, it's a very personal decision in a very complex and an emotional, difficult time for any pet owner and the veterinary team, right?
Yeah.
So I think that just learning about options and knowing as we're considering end of life care and those big, hard decisions, finding out all the options that are necessary and available to us so that in that time we're not having to make that big decision, to kind of go into the whole process knowing what options, talk to your family, see what's right for your situation and your family for your fur baby.
Amber, I know that you. I don't.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
so
okay.
I need some tissues.
It's all good. Yeah, it's
I know
all right.
You lost a pet recently.
Yeah.
What do you have to add?
Aquamation is new to me. I've never heard of that. And I think maybe many listeners and people watching the show haven't heard of that before. So that's really cool that there's more options out there. I think I have to agree with you. You know, it's such a important emotional decision, and you know, sometimes you don't have the chance to like do research and find out what you want to do, but there are a lot of places that are able to help you like last minute. I know like last year I lost my heart dog. Sorry if I get like emotional. But I found Lap of Love online, and that was like the best thing I could have ever done for him because I got to say goodbye to him on my couch, and you know, he fell asleep in my arms. And then they partnered with someone close to us that was able to cremate him and, you know, give me a paw print, and I even had some of his hair in the paw print, and it made me cry. And I keep that still close to my bed at night, and it was a really special experience because I was able to have those options. So I think that just because we have those availability, those things that we can take with us and have our pets with us, you know, after they pass, all those amazing options are incredible. And it's really a cool experience. And I didn't know that was a thing, and that's really neat, but you know,
I learned
great.
about aquamation too, right here on the show.
That was
Learning
really cool.
Right along with you pet parents watching. And yeah, I think the key is to have a plan, even though it's not the type of thing you want to think about.
Right.
But it makes that moment a little bit easier if you have a plan in place.
And that's so true. Going back to our other question, my dog, the one I lost, was absolutely terrified of the vet. Like, the car was great. He was great everywhere, but the vet was like his scary place. And I knew, like, the last years of his life, I just knew I could not say goodbye to him in a vet clinic.
Right.
And we were at the emergency hospital twice. We almost lost him twice. And I told the vet the second time, I told them, I was like, you know what? I know it's going to be expensive to get him back. He had a bleed inside of his heart, and we got him back. And I said, you know what? I just want to do everything we can to save him right now, so tomorrow I can say goodbye to him at home so that he's happy.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it was really hard to do, but I knew for many months and for many years that my plan for him was to ideally say goodbye to him in his happy place. And thankfully to Lap of Love and a cool place that we partnered with, we
And
were
that's
able to do
somewhat
that.
of a luxury sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, when you
You
have
don't
that
always get that
ability
option.
to, you know, to time it.
Yeah.
In the most ideal way. You guys did a great job. Thank you
Oh, yeah.
for such great insights to all of our questions today.
You for hosting. This is great.
You are the best.
Yes.
A heartfelt thank you to Dr. Courtney Campbell, Amber Aquart, and Dr. Stephanie Malquist for sharing their expertise. And remember, while this advice is certainly very helpful, your own veterinarian and their staff know your pet's specific needs best. So always reach out to them with concerns, or your own trainer about your pet's health. Now, we would love to feature your question on a future episode. Just send your video question, it has to be on video, to dogtv.com/experts. And until next time, remember that great pet care starts with great pet information. I'm Kristen Levine, and this has been The Experts, your direct line to brilliant minds in pet health. See you next time.
Whiskey, you didn't answer any questions.